William Ruto receives a heartbreaking news from Githunguri as his major project is halted by the courts. Welcome to Kenyan Media, where we bring you news updates as they break, and kindly consider subscribing. The High Court has halted the construction of a multi-million shilling affordable housing project on a 58-acre site in Githunguri after concerns were raised over lack of public participation and the protection of the culturally significant shrine. The decision issued on Thursday, April 2nd, brings to a pause a government-backed plan to build more than 2,000 housing units on a land that many consider sacred. The Environment and Land Court sitting in Thika ordered that construction must stop immediately pending the hearing and determination of the petition challenging the project. The matter is now set to be mentioned on July 6, 2026. At the heart of the dispute is a piece of land known as Githunguri Kiawairera. For many within Agikuyu community, this is not just land, it is a place of memory, a place of identity, and a place deeply tied to the history of struggle and sacrifice. The petition that led to the court's intervention was filed by the Agikuyu Council of Elders, working together with a coalition of community lobby groups. The argument is clear. They say the government failed to involve local residents and cultural stakeholders before initiating the housing project, and in doing so, they claim that a critical step is public decision-making that was overlooked. Public participation is not just a process, it is a constitutional requirement, and in this case, the petitioners say that requirement was not met. According to the documents filed in court, the elders describe the decision to build on the land as deeply troubling. They argue that it risks erasing an important cultural and historical monument, one that has long been part of the community's identity. But beyond procedure, the concerns raised go even deeper, and the land in question is believed to hold the remains and memories of at least 54 Mau Mau fighters, men and women who, according to the community accounts, were executed during the colonial era. And for the Agikuyu Council of Elders, this transforms the site into something more than a development opportunity. It becomes a symbol. It's a symbol of resistance, a symbol of sacrifice, and a reminder of a painful but refining chapter in Kenya's history. The petitioners argue that any attempt to build on such a site would amount to desecration. They say altering or destroying the land would not only erase physical evidence of the past, but also weaken the cultural fabric that connects generations. Through their legal representatives, they maintain that the site holds sacred value and that its preservation is essential, not just for the Agikuyu people, but for the country as a whole. The court, in issuing the suspension orders, did not make a final determination of these claims. Instead, it recognized that the concerns raised required a deeper examination, and that until that examination is complete, then construction should not proceed. This temporary halt now shifts attention to what will happen next. As the case moves towards its hearing date in July, both sides are expected to present their arguments in full. On one side, the petitioners seeking to preserve what they consider a sacred heritage site. On the other, a government agenda focused on expanding access to affordable housing. The project itself is part of the broader national plan, a plan aimed at addressing the growing demand for housing in urban and peri-urban areas. Across the country, many families continue to face challenges in accessing decent and affordable homes, and the government has maintained that large-scale housing are key to solving that problem, and President William Ruto has repeatedly emphasized the importance of completing affordable housing projects. He has described them as critical solution to the housing crisis affecting many Kenyans. The halted project in Githunguri is one of the many under this initiative, and its suspension now highlights the complex balance between development and preservation. And between meeting present-day needs and protecting historical and cultural heritage, the residents in and around Githunguri, the court's decision brings a moment of pause. Some see it as a necessary step to ensure that their voices are heard. Others may view it as a delay in efforts to provide housing solutions. But what remains clear is that the issue goes beyond bricks and mortar. It touches on identity, on history, and on the question of who gets to decide the future of land that carries the weight of the past. The petitioners have also pointed to historical roots of the site. They say the land dates back to the 1930s when it was set aside by Agikuyu age groups. Originally, it served as an indigenous institution of learning, and later it became home to one of the ugliest and one of the earliest girls' dormitories in the country. This layered history adds another dimension to the case. It is not just about single event or period, it is about continuum of use and meaning. From education to resistance, from tradition to modern-day identity, and now potentially to urban development. As the legal process continues, the court will be expected to weigh all these factors: the question of whether proper procedures were followed, the significance of the site, and the broader public interest. The outcome would have implications beyond Githunguri. It could set a precedent for how similar disputes are handled in the future, especially in cases where development projects intersect with the cultural heritage. For now, the construction remains on hold, the land remains untouched, and the voices calling for preservation continue to be heard. At least within the walls of the courtroom, the coming months will be critical. They will determine whether the project proceeds, is modified, or is stopped entirely. They will also test the strength of the legal protections around public participation and cultural heritage, and they will shape the conversation around development in Kenya, a conversation that is becoming increasingly complex as the country grows, as the demand for houses rise, and as the communities seek to hold on their history. For now, in Githunguri, the future is on hold as the past stands firm, waiting to be heard.